Well, since this is basically Transit month, I think we should have one more video. I've loved Transit since the first day I heard that bus horn, but I've never been able to complete that love. Trying to get to round 100 on Transit is one of the most interesting high rounds that exist. Firstly, while most high rounds require you to set up for them, the setup for Transit has a lot of RNG, much more than most maps. To be completely set up, you need the bus hatch, galvanucles, the jet gun, a packed M1911 and M16, and the farm door closed, which means no double tap. Now that doesn't seem like a big list, but depending on if the bus hatch spawns in one of the 3 available power doors, and not the one locked at farm, you'll be resetting to get it. And when you have to run all the way from depot to diner to town 4 times in a row, not getting the bus hatch, it can get a bit tedious. The second important thing you need is the galvanucles, because they are needed to make the jet gun wonder weapon, well, actually kill effectively. It has the fastest melee animation, so doing the jet gun infinite ammo strat really only works well with it. Then, obviously, you need the jet gun. That's the key to this whole operation. And if you're lucky with your teleports, you can have it built in a little over 13 minutes. Which isn't that bad in terms of wonder weapon quests, as you can begin doing this right as you get out of spawn. You run through the tunnel to grab the engine part, along with the M16, which will come in very handy later. Now the big question. Why, oh why, are we using the M16 and a packed M1911 pistol? The reason is that they, more specifically the M16, have a very large explosion radius when packed. The Mustang and Sally's along with the underbarrel grenade launcher are massive, and I mean massive helps on high rounds. But wait, there's no PhD on Transit, and eventually after the 50s, these guns won't kill anyways. Well, they may not kill themselves, but when the insta-kill shows up, they certainly do. The last piece to this puzzle is the farm door. You see, we won't be training at farm, but rather outside of it. The training area is one of the biggest here, but most importantly, it has some of the fastest localized spawns on the entire map too. So, here we are. What's the strat? To train zombies counterclockwise around the edge of the fog, using the jet gun melee strat every time you get close to the wall, and whenever insta-kills drop, pulling out your Mustang and Sally's or packed M16's grenade launcher to kill them, right as they spawn. Now, some would recommend a slight variation of this strategy. This includes getting both monkeys and Mark II from the box, which would certainly speed up the mid rounds as well as give you a good window of protection if you go down and need to make a perk recovery run, but I disagree, and I'll explain why. You see, every round you're given 4 drops. It will always be 4 drops, and you want to get the best combo of drops possible. The drops you can get consist of max ammos, double points, nukes, and insta-kills. Now I'm sure you're asking, what about the carpenters and fire sales? Why don't we have those? Especially carpenters. Well, on Transit, when a certain number of or all barriers on the map are completely boarded up, the carpenter power-up no longer drops, as there's no barriers to rebuild. So if you don't go onto the bus and keep all those barriers from being torn down, carpenters will never drop in the cycle. And this is the important thing, making the RNG of the drop cycle as stacked in your favor as possible. The best drops you can get are insta-kills, because you can immediately pull out those explosive radius weapons, put them to good use, and spawn kill the zombies quickly. The best case scenario is 2 max ammos and 2 insta-kills in a round. No drop can drop more than twice, so this is the ideal combo. Big instas is 2 insta-kills, one after the other. So as soon as the first one is about to end, you grab the second. The Mega Max is when you get 2 max ammos back to back, which is really only ever good if you're in the middle of an insta-kill to spam as fast as you can. Now nukes can be helpful, just not as good as the insta-kills. When training with the jet gun, you're average about 3 to 4 kills every 10 to 12 seconds depending on how difficult the zombies want to be spawning ahead of you. You're not killing the fastest, let's say that. So when you get a nuke drop, that's a whole horde of 24 killed. The Enola Gay is what we call 2 nukes dropped one after the other. I'm sure you can guess why. Now, double points are worthless. Absolutely worthless. Even if you go down and need to rebuy all of your perks, there's no situation where by the 50s you wouldn't have enough points to do so. So they do nothing. Getting one in a round is basically bad RNG and a wasted drop. And if you're unlucky enough to get a quadruple points, oh boy, that's just bad luck, my friend. Now, this strategy may be effective for Transit, but that doesn't mean it's easy or even fast, especially when you don't get big insta. The one thing that makes training much more difficult on this map, and BO2 as a whole, are the walkers. You see, in BO1, eventually when you got to higher rounds, all zombies began to run. But in BO2, they decided to throw a monkey wrench into that by adding about 5 slow-moving zombies per horde. Now these don't sound like a big deal until you realize that when you're training, the train only works because you're leading it around and zombies are following close behind. Now when you kill zombies and some slow-moving walkers spawn ahead of you and block the way, forcing you to jump into the fog, possibly putting you at risk of the denizens, well, you can imagine how that would cause problems. And avoiding the denizens are another thing to watch out for, because this training area isn't as open as it may seem. The edges of the fog are a lot closer than you realize. 2 seconds into the fog and the spawning denizens will jump for you, even if you run back into the playable space. So if you remember the Tech of Transit video and how to kill them before they latch on, use that to help you. Actually, I need to say something. Something I haven't needed to say yet on my channel. I messed up. I made a huge mistake, and I'm sorry. I forgot to mention the 20th tip for Transit. Once you get the pack door open, if you stand in this room at the top of the stairs but don't touch the stairs, zombies will not spawn in the pack hallway at all, and you can camp here while keeping the pack door open as long as you want. Sorry I didn't mention that, completely slipped my mind, but it's very useful in gaining enough points to pack your guns, along with very life-saving in a co-op match, as one person can just camp here and keep pack open forever. The last little notable thing is Avogadro. If you have the Galvanuckles, you can 2-tap him before the zombies even start spawning in. No need to hit the box for EMPs, just master the art of bob and weave, and he's no problem whatsoever. Also, one more important tip when using the jet gun. When using the fast melee strat, the jet gun shoots behind you as well. Yes, any damage you do in front also does behind you. So that means you don't even need to be looking at the zombies, meaning you don't need to turn around and aim at them when you use the jet gun, therefore keeping your speed up and not needing to slow down. You know, there's something really distinct about Transit's Round 100 as opposed to every other map. With most others, there's always something. Something you can do to help you, some way to avoid the zombies or camp them. Some equipment or strategy to make the rounds easier, a gumball, a trap, an exploit, a special ability. But with Transit, you have nothing. Nothing but you and the jet gun. Sure, the jet gun makes drops and insta-kills help, but besides that, you're killing every zombie in the round yourself. As long as you know how to use it, the jet gun can take you all the way to round 100 and beyond. All that's required is that you put the time in and have the skill and the patience to do it. So many high rounds have something that gives you some kind of edge, but on Transit, it's just you and the zombies. Even the insta-kill explosives, you need to be 100% on your game, because with no PhD, you're more likely to down yourself than the zombies are. Transit in this way is the most pure round 100 there is, because it's only a matter of, do you have the skills to keep up with this constant strategy for over 14 hours? It's not easy, but what it is consistent. And I salute those players who put real, true time in to get to the top of those leaderboards. These guys are legends, and to even get round 100 on this map is a monumental achievement, especially if you're someone like me who actually loves the map. All these years, over a decade, and I never managed to show my love for the map by doing what few others have done. Go the distance and get the round 100. Until now. I did it, boys. 3 days straight, 14 hours later. A couple slip-ups along the way, but I did it. After all this time, I beat the map I've always dreamt of. I went the distance, I put in the work, and I conquered the Transit Round 100. I'm not typically a high round guy, but I had to do it. For Jimmy, for Ted, for the fog, and for me.